Okay, tubers, I'm going to show you how to replace an alternator, and in the same process we're going to be replacing this bypass hose right there. Of course, you know, the alternator is going to go something like that right there, and then you just bolt it in. But I'll show you the process that you have to do. I didn't have time to make a video on taking it out, so I'll show you one putting it in. And it's the same process. You just have your two bolts right here. 1, 2, and then your bolt stud right there, which I'm going to clean off with some sandpaper, and then your plug in right there, and you should be good to go. It's a little chilly out here and wet, so I have a tent over my head. And then Jack, wherever he's at. Oh, Jackie dogs. Right there. There's Jack dog. How feller. How bud. Alright, sit down. Sit down. Sit down. Good boy. Okay, so that's that. I'm going to, and you need a special bypass hose. It has to be bent like this because the way the alternator sits, it just barely touches the alternator. Actually, I'm wrong on that. It doesn't touch the alternator, but it has to be bent to keep from touching the alternator. So you can't just use any regular hose that you want to. So I'm going to pause this. I'm going to replace that hose, and I'll be back. Okay, so got the hose on there, and you're going to have just a little bit of antifreeze leak. Crazy chicken. Anyway, you're going to have a little bit of antifreeze leak right in there, a little bit come out in there. Then you get your roll of paper towels, soak it up. If you're like me, you can either have it soaked up or you couldn't. Doesn't really matter, but it's there, so I'm going to soak it up. What I'm going to do too is get some sandpaper and sand off that plug right there. Okay, so I got that sanded, both sides. You just need a little piece of 120, 150 grit sandpaper, somewhere in there. Just something. Okay, now for the alternator. And when you do this, if you replace it and your battery's dead, make sure you put the alternator on charge first. Or excuse me, the battery on charge first, because if not, you can cause damage to the alternator, having to run everything on a load like that for some time, and also the same process as trying to charge the battery up. So, now, without further ado, we will put the battery on. Let's see if I can't rig up a way to get the alternator put in without having a phone. Okay, so I believe I found a way to hook that. Anyway, okay, so by the way, these bolts, one's a 13, I think both of them, I believe, are 13 millimeter. One of them, let's see, this one, I lost one of them, so I had to go to my hardware store, get one. Fun. Okay, so we're just gonna plug this in. Take your plug in, plug it in, snap it in, put your take your thing, going in that way, and of course it's going to be right in the way. We're going to put your bolt in it. If I can find the, there we go. Okay, so now that we got one in, we're going to leave it sitting. We'll put this one in, and actually I think I can do this one one-handed. So throw him in a little bit. If it don't cross thread with me. Okay, so now that I got it, we're going to take our, this head on this bolt is the one I lost. It's a 12 millimeter. I can get it showing. That's 12. Right there. We're just going to take it, put it on the impact. Speed this up a little bit. Well, if I don't lose it, we'll run it in just a little bit. Now, because I've misplaced also my knuckle joint, I can't get down in here with my impact, so I have to use a ratchet. So then this one is a 13 millimeter, and we're just going to tighten that one up, and then we're going to put the stud on the back right there. We're going to put it on that little bolt right there, and put the belt back on it, and I'll show you all that in just a minute. Okay, so we're just going to pull this little wiring harness up just a little bit, take off this nut, sit it down in there so we won't lose it, and put our stud back on it, put our bolt back on it. And you want to do this one-handed if you're leaving the battery in like I am. That's a big no-no, by the way, but what do you do? Okay, so this one is a 7/16. Well, I said it was a 7/16. I thought it fit. Okay, that was my fault. It's a 10 millimeter, not a 7/16. So we're just going to tighten this up. We're going to get it a little bit more snug. I can't do this without my hand getting in the way. A little bit more snug. Okay. So now you'll need a 15 millimeter socket, deep weld. Well, you don't have to have a deep weld, but I just use a deep weld, and a breaker bar. What you want to do is you want to take it on this nut right here, on the end of the tensioner. Well, take it like this and pull back on it. Of course, I'm going to need two hands on this, so anyway. Okay, so now the belt's on. Tensioner's back. Couldn't do it without that. Okay, what's next? I think that's it. Jack. Let's check the antifreeze. See how much was lost. Just a little bit. Nothing too bad. Just gonna put our thermostat cap back on. And it's on. Okay. See, I like that thermostat cap. So, if you've got any questions or comments, leave them in the section below. I'll answer them best I can. And y'all have a good one.